Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 49 days away from its official release by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film, at the end of the day, is going to be a revelation film answering many of the burning questions from The Force Awakens that will now be answered in, of course, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker by JJ. And the fact that Palpatine is back and being portrayed by Ian McDiarmid once more is also yet another exciting aspect of Episode 9 and something to really be hyped for, to see Palpatine back on the big screen once and for all in motion, actually interacting with some of the modern characters like Rey and Kylo Ren. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the big plans by Disney and Lucasfilm, this is where things begin to get very unfortunate, but at the same exact time, rather intriguing of what could have been for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Now, specifically, it's described that during the reshoots during the months of August, September, and October of this year is when Disney and Lucasfilm made some major adjustments to the second and third acts of the movie. It's described that while the changes were being made to the film by Disney to restructure a large percentage of the plot of the film, is that also it's said that one of the major scenes that were directed by George Lucas were cut from the film during the reshoots. This major sequence that took place in the third act of the film was said to involve a moment in which Palpatine's death was said to be done by one of the Force ghosts in the movie originally, and that the process would involve this Force ghost forcing Palpatine's spirit into the netherworld of the Force, in which the light side of the Force that surrounds the netherworld would eventually destroy Palpatine's spirit. It's explained that this Force Ghost would have been Luke Skywalker's, where Luke's Force Ghost would fuse with Palpatine's spirit, bringing him into the netherworld of the Force, which would destroy his spirit right then and there. It's described that the scene was the longest scene in the movie that was done by George Lucas, both the fact that he directed and actually wrote that scene, and that it took around 1 week to film back in May of 2019 before it was cut due to reshoots. So let's go over a couple of parts about this, because this really seems like it could have been a very powerful scene, and at the same exact time it would have really delved right into Star Wars Legends, which I'll explain in just a second. So, with that being said, George Lucas, we do know that a lot of his scenes, as we went over yesterday, were actually changed, adjusted, and or cut. Around 30% of the George Lucas directed scenes were cut from the actual movie due to the massive reshoots that took place for September, August, and during this month of October. So, they did a lot of Palpatine scenes over, they did a lot of Luke Skywalker scenes over, a lot of changes were made to the second and third acts. I want to go over Palpatine's original death here that was directed by George Lucas that was cut from the movie, and the reason as to why I actually like this. I know that there's going to be quite a number of you guys out there that totally dislike this idea, and that's perfectly fine. But this is actually said to be a moment in which Luke's Force Ghost would actually fuse with Palpatine's spirit. Now, by the way, this is back when Palpatine's spirit was still a thing in the movie, before they changed it to him actually being alive in the flesh, and that he never really died. So in this original script of the actual film, we had Palpatine's spirit being brought into the netherworld of the Force and getting killed. Very similar to how Palpatine died in the expanded universe after Return of the Jedi. So Palpatine in the EU, this is how he died. Palpatine is killed by a blaster shot that was actually fired by Han Solo. That's not what really kills him, though. But his spirit is captured by the mortally wounded Jedi Brand. Now, when Brand dies, he takes Palpatine's spirit with him into the netherworld of the Force, destroying the Sith Lord once and for all. So that's what happened in the mid-1990s. If you guys read Dark Empire 1, 2, and especially 3, where Palpatine dies. In Dark Empire 3, that Jedi Master, that Master guy named Brand, he actually brings Palpatine into the netherworld of the Force as he is dying. So this is a little different because Palpatine is being brought in by Luke's Force Ghost, and Luke isn't really dying. He's just bringing him into the netherworld, the Force, destroying his spirit due to the light side energy that's very strong within that realm. Again, the realm of the netherworld is actually very powerful as, a Force nexus, if you will. It has a lot of light side energy in there, hence it would destroy Palpatine's spirit. Basically, it wouldn't survive. And that's a very interesting side. I'm starting to wonder exactly how Palpatine is going to die in this movie. We still are not quite sure about specifics just yet, other than the fact that it looks to be Rey that is going to be the one that kills Palpatine, which is something that I personally disagree with. That's just my point of view. I feel like it should be Ben Solo / Kylo Ren, or at the very least, one of the Force Ghosts like Anakin Skywalker at minimum. So this is a missed opportunity for George Lucas. The fact that they cut out his biggest scene in the actual movie and replaced it with something else is rather unfortunate. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.